So we talk about this, and here it is. It's happening. And I think, Denise, people are worried. People are thinking, right, OK, that's all happening over here, but ISIS aren't going to take this line down.
No, but I think that... Am I more worried now than I was last week? No, I'm not. We were already bombing ISIS in Iraq. We're now bombing on the other side of the border. That is not, to me, a huge change. They meant to do us harm before. They mean to do us harm now. Well, we have people working to protect us all the time. And one of the benefits from living a long life is you see the aftermath of things. I remember as a small child at the end of the war, all the things coming out about Bletchley Park, about all the things that had happened to keep us safe. And that's happening now. And I trust them.
Well, do you think that security in the UK will be increased further, or are we already at that heightened level?
Well, we're the second highest level right now, Holly. In terms of it actually increasing, would say that the security services are obviously aware of something which they don't believe they can stop. I think fundamentally, as best as they can be, I think the security services are in the best place they can be. They've done incredibly well, and they're continuing to do very, very well at thwarting plots like, for example, we've seen in Paris. It's not to say that Daesh, ISIL aren't looking to do something like that over here. It's just that they don't necessarily have the capability.
Why would they not have the capability? The IRA were able to do it in the 70s, in the 80s, and in the 90s as well. What's changed?
It's a very good point. We've changed in terms of our capability of detection, our intelligence instruments, the experience that's now within the security services, whereas with provisional IRA, in those days, obviously, it was a learning curve. Even the security services, by their own admission after 7/7, said, we have an awful lot to learn, because obviously this situation took place. We are now pretty good in terms of being able to detect these things. The problem that you have in continental Europe, and especially somewhere like France, is that you don't have those border controls. We do have a gap of sea between us. So the ability for us to try and prevent it is that much better.
I'll tell you just one other thing has changed, obviously, since the IRA bombing campaign. These guys are prepared to die for their cause. They're prepared to blow themselves up, which the IRA bombers were not. That wasn't part of their plan.
No, absolutely, and we saw that on 7/7. I mean, that was the big wake-up call, unfortunately, for us. It was the first time that we saw suicide bombers here in the United Kingdom. But again, as part of that process, you're absolutely right. In terms of those that are willing to kill themselves for their cause, that becomes a whole different type of threat. But there are a lot of barriers you can put in place to make it less easy for them to achieve that.
Denise, it's Christmas. There's lots of families. Schools are finishing. You want to take your kids into town. You want to do your Christmas shopping. You want to take them ice skating. People are scared to do these things at the moment. Should we be changing the way that we live our lives?
I think not. I think it's more damaging to your children to make them feel that the world out there is a dangerous place. We have... ISIS wants us to be scared. They want us to stop living a normal life. I think we must carry on. Of course, we should be vigilant, and if you see anything that's out of place, you tell somebody quick. But I think we need to give our children continuity. And I'm often asked, what do I tell the children? How do I explain what's going on? Children pick up vibes. And if you can come to terms in yourself that precautions are being taken, we are reasonably safe, and life must go on, you communicate that. And the great thing with children is give them a feeling of continuity. Talk about Christmas. Talk about what's happening after Christmas. When the summer comes, we're going to do this in the garden. Give them the feeling that life will be going on irrespective.
Do you know what? I would feel a lot better if things reverted to the way they were in Northern Ireland. We were used to body searches, scans before we went into the city centre. There was a ring of steel around city centres and in shops. And it's all right, people saying, oh, no, you know, let's not do this, let's not interrupt our lives. But I would be more confident going into an arena or a football stadium or a shopping mall if I was being screened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that likely to happen?
I think there's a good possibility that might happen. I think the problem is that since the days of provisional IRA campaigns, things have become so much more easy and accessible and quicker. I mean, you look at airports when you go and take a flight. Conventionally, back 10 years ago, it took you 2 hours to check in beforehand. Now you can turn up almost 40 minutes before the flight. Now it's reverting back to those protocols to say to ourselves, look, they're there for a very good reason to make us all feel comfortable.